Welcome to the Your Leadership Legacy podcast. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I'm so excited to bring you this next podcast dedicated to you high performers out there who want to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, maybe your career, all of it. This podcast is all about being dedicated to transformation and being the best possible leader of yourself and others that you can be in order to create a legacy that lives on. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause. I am the founder and CEO of True You Teams. And here we go. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and we have the one and the only Tiffany Houser with us today. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, Tina. Hi, everyone.
It's good to have you with us. I'm going to read your bio, and then we're going to get right into it because we've got like juicy stuff to talk about. I'm really excited about it. All right. Tiffany Houser is a transformational leadership coach, a facilitator, and a speaker. Tiffany's company, Evolve, works with intrapreneurs, executives, teams, and companies committed to transforming engagement, soft skills, equity, diversity, plus inclusion. I'm not sure I didn't say that right, but you know what I mean. Emotional intelligence, mindset, potential, and culture. So Tiffany, you are a powerhouse. You've been my coach. You've kicked my butt before in amazing ways. And I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much, Tina. So good to be back.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you've been on before.
I'm so fired up about what you're up to today. This is exciting.
I know. Talk about piloting. I'm getting messy today. You told me you coach me on this messy stuff, and I'm getting messy today. It's awesome.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, Tiffany, give us a little bit of your background and kind of where you're at today.
Awesome. Well, as Tina mentioned, I am a transformational leadership coach, facilitator, and speaker. And, I think it's now, actually next month, it'll be 2 years. I got 2020's throwing my chronology all off. Exactly. But next month, it'll be 2 years since I launched my corporate company, Evolve. I've been a coach for over 11 years. And really what led me into corporate coaching are my clients. So I had been coaching leaders, executives, aspiring leaders, aspiring executives. I used to work with a lot of millennial, and they have some grit and drive and tenacity and big visions. And, as the work was unfolding and as they were progressing, transforming, breaking down their blind spots, elevating and amplifying what's been working for them in their own personal leadership, they started to realize, I want to share this with my team. I want to share this with my company, or I want to share this with HR for my aspiring. They were like, I don't run a team quite yet. Yeah. And, it's interesting because, as entrepreneurs and sometimes as leaders, we think we got to follow certain steps. Right. And what's really awesome about being in a space of transformation is that you're in a space of possibility. You're open to it all, and all of it is possible, like the highs, the lows, and everything in between. And being open in that space, I just followed my clients. I followed them all the way up into where we are in 2020, into reimagining Evolve to really elevate. And now we're working on the future of DEI, because what we see is something more powerful, if that's even possible, but we know it is.
Yeah, no, I love that we're going to touch on DEI. So 2020 happened, right? We're in the middle of it. We're ending up the year, going into 2021. What are some of the things that you're working on your clients with to really help them navigate through all of this chaos that we're in?
Yeah. And, I would say that we are beyond the chaos now. Minus the election, maybe.
I will agree with that on November 4th.
Yeah. It's coming.
We can see it.
Exactly. And, I work with different types of company. It's not as if we focus. Before 2020 happened, we were heavily focused on, top law firms across the country, working with their female leadership initiatives, their DEI initiatives, and any type of elevation of leadership and culture. And so when everything started to really, really get interesting at the end of May, beginning of June with civil liberties and civil justice, a lot of companies got to pause and take a look at their vision again and see, what are we up to? What do we stand for? And are we going to express it, or are we just going to silently like hope this all passes by, like most of 2020?
Right.
And so what we've been working on this year is clients who are ready to step in, ready to get uncomfortable. That's the cool thing.
Totally.
And really the companies that we've signed, because we're still talking to a lot of companies, but the companies that we signed, they actually care about their people, they care about their clients, and they care about the communities they're in as well. Which, as we were doing some of the assessments and, you know, we do town halls with them and breakout sessions, you know, we hear people say that, but when we dive in and actually engage in the work and to feel it and experience it from a group of people that work together and now remotely, it blew my mind. I'm like, you guys care about each other so much. Like, I kept like acknowledging them. I felt like I was being like their grandmother and like the proud grandma, like, you guys are great, you're amazing. Like, because it was just so beautiful and so powerful to see amongst a group of coworkers working across the country. So this virtual work was not technically new to them, but it was powerful. And to see the diverse voices, like the different types of people who spoke up, who chimed in, who asked questions, who participated, has been amazing this year.
Right. So I latched on to uncomfortable when you were talking. So uncomfortable, go further and deeper. What does it mean when like we get uncomfortable? What does that look like and what happens?
Yeah. And I love this, Tina, because in the workplace, it's happening every day. Like, I mean, if we had an audience, I would ask, who has been uncomfortable working today so far? And I guarantee you everyone would raise the hand.
Yeah.
I mean, with all the Zoom fails that have been going on this year, like you're muted, your camera's off, like all those things, like you logged on to the wrong link. And I mean, we were on a Zoom and the meeting was happening on GoTo meetings. I'm like, whoa, how did we miss that?
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about this discomfort, we're talking more about being authentic in the workplace. Right. So this gets now down into the core and the real depth of the work that we do and create at Evolve is, you know, the old paradigm and the old way of corporate life was check your personal life at the door.
Right. If
you're a parent, if you have a hobby, if somebody is not well in your family, you just got to check all that at the door. If you just got in a fender bender, check it at the door. Because when you walk through the door and you sit down, it's go time. And how unrealistic is that, Tina?
Yeah, it's not only is it unrealistic, it's super unhealthy. Like, no wonder we have burnout. No wonder we have, you know, so much. I mean, I won't even start rattling off the statistics, but yeah, it makes so much sense.
Yeah. So, and the burnout, that's such a good piece, because to think that there is an experience of work-life balance, like there's something different. Like you are one person when you are at work and you are a different person when you're at home or in your personal life, is completely untrue.
Yeah.
Now you may let some filters go or put some filters up, but you are the same person. You are not chopping yourself and this is your professional half and this is your, you can't. And if you do know how to do that, please let me know. I really don't know how to do that.
And I don't want it. Who wants to do that?
No, exactly. No. And here's the thing that employers, leaders are starting to really understand and embrace is we want all of you.
Yeah.
We want all of you, because when we have all of you authentically, there's so much creativity. There's so much problem solving, critical thinking, collaboration, and innovation. And I don't know who is not looking to innovate right now.
Yeah, everyone.
All the pivots that have gone on this year were because of critical thinking and innovative, creative thinkers. Yeah. They weren't people who were checking stuff out the door thinking, well, this is how we can't get away with that anymore, how we always do things. So really the discomfort is in being authentic at work.
Yeah. So when we talk about authenticity at work, Why do you think people hold back from being their complete selves at work?
Ooh, girl, how long do we have? Well, the real reason is the belief. Now, we all have different beliefs, but the core belief is it's not safe.
Yeah.
We're not going to look good. We are going to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we have not accepted all of ourselves. So we feel if we haven't accepted it, like my sassy side, I don't want to bring my sassy side into work. Like, then no one else is going to accept that. And then even deeper, when it gets into DEI, you feel like you'll be prejudged,
Yeah.
discriminated, or just like stereotyped. At the minimum, you think you're going to be stereotyped. Oh, well, especially for parents, man, we created our own new segment at Evolve, working parents.
Nice.
They have felt so excluded this year. And, as part of DEI, the I is crazy important to feel included.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I don't know how many Zoom you've been on, Tina, but anytime a child walks by, a dog walks over, the FedEx guy knocks on a door, I'm like, it's okay. Like,
Totally.
go handle it. Like, I'm cool. Like, I'm totally fine.
Isn't that beautiful though, that's what we're moving towards?
Yeah.
Because it should have been like that all along, and it wasn't. And we get to create that now in the workspace as we move forward.
Absolutely. And I keep remembering the guy. I believe he is from England. He's a newscaster, journalist or something, doing his thing, and like real serious. And his kids and the nanny come running in, and this is before COVID.
Yeah.
And he turned it out to be one of the most endearing people ever. Like, he was like one of the top like hashtags on Twitter. He was all over the news. He's still celebrated because everyone has had some sort of an experience like that.
Yeah.
Where you have gotten up and you realize I still have on my jammy bottoms, and you're like, oops. So there's so many things. And really, inclusion this year also was like, wow, people are going to see my home. Are they going to accept the way my home looks?
Mm-hmm.
And do I have any fears or judgment around that? About people seeing more of like my home. So that was just a small thing. Right. So yeah, so authenticity, it takes a hit because most likely we're afraid.
Yeah, I hear you. I want to talk about DEI and the evolution of DEI. Mm-hmm. So in your work, I know that you do a lot of work with companies around this. So how are your proposals today and what you're going to do different than what they were a year ago?
Wow, that's such a great question. So so it's so interesting because we focus on law firms for a reason. Mm-hmm. And, law firms have this like really great initiative for DEI. Most of them do, especially the top 100. And we also believe that lawyers are future judges. So we're like, ooh, these are the people that are going to make a difference in the world. Mm-hmm. But so a year ago, we were just focusing mostly on emotional intelligence and growth mindset, because we still believe to this day, those are the core, that's the foundation. You can't really learn and shift and unite and align if you haven't accessed your emotional intelligence and A, know what it is, and B, understand how to operate and activate your growth mindset. Mm-hmm. And so now what we see and what we've created as the future of DEI is it's all about the transformation, not the training. So we were following along. We were totally following, because like Tina, we go where they want,
Absolutely.
give them what they need.
Where you are.
Yeah, give them what they need, but then you show up with like what, the good stuff. And so we were just, pitching workshops and trainings and things like that. And then I just had a radical shift this year. I was like, because of the work you and I have done collectively together over the past 2 years, mm-hmm. I was like, it's not about this training anymore. And then I met a brilliant team in Canada, Dr. Kristen Leash, who's one of the co-founders of Title Equality. And I came across this article that she wrote last year, end of last year, exactly 1 year ago to be, like, I remember it, October. And it said, why unconscious bias trainings don't work. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to read it. I know, like, it's like, and that's what like a lot of companies were looking for. They want, and that's that cookie cutter.
Checkbox.
Yeah, let's check some boxes. So I read this article, and you know how people reach out to us on LinkedIn, like, I see that you're a visionary coach or an entrepreneur. I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah. Red
yeah.
flag.
And so I have like a little judgment around it. And yet when I read that article, I was like, I get to talk to her. I get to work with her, something. I want to pick her brain. And I reached out to her on LinkedIn, and she called me within 20 minutes. That's when I knew, like, I'm like, okay, we're up, like, we have great things going on. And another thing to entrepreneurs and leaders and companies, people are open for business right now.
Mm-hmm.
There are very few gatekeepers or like, I'll get to it when we're open for business right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so where I took a little, a little page from her book, and I was like, you know what? It's not about the training. It's about the transformation. The training is great. Don't get me wrong. But the training, again, only teaches you what you need to know. However, there's a gap in what are we doing? Who are we becoming with what we just learned?
Yes.
That's what's in our new program, which is a 6-month program that starts with that town hall that I was talking about, with breakout sessions. And then it goes into the actual transformation pieces, which 6 months for an entire company is nothing. And we've worked on this for a few months, and we got it done. And I was like, oh my gosh, like when you figure something out, you're like, we got it.
Yes.
We ran the first company through it. They've gone through the first phase, which is the discovery phase.
Amazing.
And now they're moving into the activation phase, which is
so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool because it's almost like, and again, we do very similar work, and it's almost like we're taking leadership development, org effectiveness, change management, right? All of it, and kind of rolling it up into a program that combines all of it and aligns and works together. And this saying that you said is worth $1 million. It's about transformation, not training.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, even like the launch that I'm doing in 2 weeks, it's the future of DEI. It's about, or the key is transformation, not the training.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's crazy radical, Tina. Companies are like, what? Because they still want the training. So it's up to me as the leader of my work and my vision and my company to continue to open up the possibility and create the curiosity.
Yeah.
Because you can keep doing trainings, you can keep checking boxes, but do you really understand what diversity, equity, and inclusion create for a company? And do you have a vision for your company that includes DEI? Or is it its own little separate thing?
The checkbox.
Yeah, because that's another piece that we're like, this gets to be included into your full company, your complete company vision, because you don't want to be a company a year from now in January when things might heat up again. You want to be in and aligned and connected and united with your people. This is who we are and what we stand for. So that no matter what happens, because vision is like a remedy, it's like a vitamin, like a wellness therapy for crises.
Yeah.
When you have vision and you're anchored in and grounded in vision collectively as a team and as an organization, crises, you're like, bring them on. I mean, don't bring them on, but like, you guys are good. You guys know where you stand. You know what's possible.
Yep. The foundation is there. It's all there. And I think what happens so often is we have this change, and it's constant change in today's environment, right? Constant change. So the skill set is being able to really understand how to move your team through that change in an effective way and develop at the same time. So that's something, Tiffany, that you and I have talked a lot about is kind of like in the past, it was up to me as an employee, and this is how it is in a lot of companies, it's up to the employee to go and find their own individual development. And like, I didn't, like, for whatever reason, like, I didn't get that. I just always assumed that the company would bring that to me if I needed it, or if I needed it for my position, that, and so it's not any different with individuals than it is what you just said with organizations. Like, clarity comes first. And when I've got that clarity and when I have that mindset, when 2020 happens, we don't fall apart. because we've got the foundation underneath us. So it's so key. And, give us an example of like, as you run a team through, kind of like what before and after looks like.
Ooh. Okay. So it's really interesting because, and we don't have the exact stats on this yet, but I can just like go off the top of my head. You have more people that are in the curiosity of it, but you also have a nice handful of people that are nervous. And then you have the people who are resistant. They're like not interested, or this has no place in the workplace, or, why are we wasting our, all that stuff. But the majority of the people are in a curiosity phase. And what was so cool, one of the companies we worked with recently, we're still in October, just this like 2020 chronology.
What day is it?
Yeah. So one of the companies we just worked with this month, a lot of their people were grateful that their company, not grateful for us or the training, but like expressing because we do a whole pre-assessment and it's almost like a temperature check. We never walk into a company and start doing, no. We want to know where you are, and you get to know where you are. And from that first round of question series, and they're not surveys, they're just question series, so many people in the last company were so excited and grateful that their company cared enough and was actually walking the talk. That's what a lot of people said, walking the talk. And specifically for this company, they had an issue this summer. There was a bunch of microaggressions, and there was actually a bully who was terminated. And so this thing morphed into DEI up into bullying and intervening, and how to safely intervene with a bully and like really neutralize it as well. So you get the facts and not the emotion around it. Yeah. And so the aftermath right now, we're actually in that second phase, is we move into coaching them on feedback. So now when you bring a company on, and this is that transformation, when you bring them all the way through, and this is one of the keys, one of the co-founders said to us, is he wanted the company to know that you don't always need to go to HR or bring it up to us. They have a team of 5 as their senior leadership. That he didn't want it always to be something brought to their attention. His vision is that people handle it amongst themselves. And that reminds me of what just happened this week in San Francisco. And I hate the name of it, but I'm gonna roll with it. The Karen Act, where it is now illegal to make a phone call to the 911 emergency line if you're just like experiencing something racially, or
it's not an emergency.
But really the message is, I just don't like why they called it the Karen. I'm like, that's too much. But the message is work it out together. Mm-hmm. If you can't call this is not no one's life is in danger right now. Mm-hmm. Just because there's someone watching birds, or their dogs are there, or they're swimming in a pool, like that's not an emergency. And so in the workplace, his vision, the specific company was, the ideal culture I would love is where our teams are working it out together, and they have the tools to understand what is going on with themselves. So one pillar in our work is authenticity. Second pillar is responsibility, because there's also like the bully is the bad guy. And, I walk the entire company, Tina, I walk them through, has anyone ever put themselves in his shoes? And man, it was like, like so many people in the chat were like, wow, like freaking out as they haven't gone through transformation.
Yeah.
And so it was just so great. And now, as we're coming to the end, they're starting to, see people in the company who've been like quiet mouses speaking up, and people who've been the bold, the active participant, just like taking a step back. And not like resigning or anything, but just realizing like, oh, I get to be aware of how I'm showing up. And is this causing and creating our vision, what we all agree to and align to
as a team?
It's like you start with curiosity, nervous, resistance, and you end, and again, we don't have enough research yet, but we end primarily with unity, with pausing, people responding rather than reacting. And 100% everyone ends with an aligned, united vision.
And what about conflict management?
Yeah.
I mean, learning how to handle the difficult conversations, and, when we don't agree, instead of, all the stuff that happens in the office, really understanding how to handle that situation so that we can both walk away from that situation still respecting each other and still being in team on this team. So
absolutely,
it's so important. And it's
in the workplace, you're there to create work with other people. Even as the accountant, you are talking to somebody else at some point throughout the day. Yeah. So great point, Tina.
Yes. So 2020 is all that it is. Tell me what your biggest leadership lesson is in 2020, because leadership development never ends, right? We're always developing no matter where we're at. So even how amazing of a leader you are, I'm sure that there's still some lessons learned that you had this year.
Thank you. The biggest thing I learned, and the biggest thing I'm leaning into this year, is trust. When this all started happening, I didn't trust that it was going to happen. I was like, this is not going to be a big deal. Like 14 days, like we got this. Like, oh, I could use 14 days of relaxing and slowing things down. And then as a business owner, when there was way more white space than commitments, I had a moment, I paused and I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
But I decided to trust, because I have been in this place before, not a global pandemic, not 2020, but in other aspects of my life, I've been in this point, like where it's like a tipping point where it feels like this is a horrible situation, or this just sucks. This is not what I wanted to happen. And it feels uncertain. It may feel out of control or uncontrollable. And so what I experimented with this year was trust. I mean, even collaborating with you, like, it's not like we just sat around and we're like twiddling thumbs. Like there was creativity, there was collaboration. And the undercurrent theme of what worked for me this year was trust.
Yeah. And just keeping going, right? Like there were days I wanted to go, like cash it in, man. Like I'm out, I'm done. And 2 years ago, I never would have said those words out of my mouth, because it would have meant I was weak. It would have, meant all these things that we tell ourselves that it means. And so one of the things that I think is really important about 2020 is feeling the feels and not staying in the feels, and just really understanding how to kind of self-clean and self-care and just move through it. What are some of your tips and tricks for when you're stuck or when you're in a funk? How do you get yourself out of it?
Oh man, don't do it alone. Pick up the phone, call someone, or and I mean that seriously, because for me, I live by myself. So even that quarantine phase, I'm like, oh man, being by ourselves, that's not who we are meant to be as human beings. So true. And so it's first taking a pause, taking a step back, and like what's going on right now, because some of us are just freaking tired. Like some of us have been hitting it hard this year.
Yes.
And not only just hitting it hard, but just like with passion, because we're passionate. I mean, look at you, you're on an all day like summit marathon. This is incredible. Yeah. And so sometimes when you're stuck or you hit that block in the road, it just might mean, cool, you're done today. You met your capacity. You are there. It's 100% okay to slow down or to stop.
Yes.
Today. And no, it's just for today.
Right.
Now, if you're consistently hitting that same wall, you wake up again, you hit the wall, you wake up the next day, hit the wall, you get to reach out to somebody. Yeah. Because one of the things about leaders is we get stuck all the time. We fail all the time. We make mistakes all the time, but we don't stay in it.
Right.
You take that moment. And sometimes we do. Every once in a while, you're like, F it.
Yeah.
Just, like
I've had a couple of times in the last, couple of months where I'm like, you know what? I'm in a funk and I'm just going to stay right here right now. Right? Just for a couple minutes, because it feels damn good. Right?
Boom. You just hit it right there. And it's most likely what our self needs in that moment. Yet our like little passionate, motivated, excited part of us is like, no, but we got to keep going. And that part also is like, and if you don't keep going, you're wasting time or you're weak or whatever that part of us says.
Yeah. And here's the thing, you walk the talk in all of that too. I can think back over the last year or so, and there's been 2 or 3 times when I've gotten a text from you when we were supposed to meet and you're like, I'm out. I don't have the capacity. I can't do it. And that's awesome, right? I'm like,
totally.
Oh, we can do that.
I took a nap from 12 to 12:30 today. Like I just literally, I had a fresh cup of coffee. I was ready to keep going. I knew I was meeting up with you in an hour. And then I was like, F it. I'm like, I need to lay down. Like I'm exhausted right now. And I mean, like, it's so interesting because somebody just said to me, I don't even know the last time I took it, or I can't take a nap during the day. And that is untrue. You just keep that mindset, which is that fixed mindset of like, it's impossible. But if you just started talking differently to yourself or thinking differently, like, and a simple tweak with that is like, wow, it would be so nice to take a little nap during the day rather than beating yourself up or putting the roadblock up yourself. Like, I can't, it's impossible. I got this, I got that, or just my body doesn't do that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like totally for understanding my capacity and understanding I gave it my all today. And sometimes that happens at 2 o'clock.
Right. And it's okay. It's totally okay. It's so freeing. I mean, if you really think about it, it's so freeing because before in the past, I would like, there's a lot of energy and time that's spent resisting all of that, and it's exhausting. And so the ability to really just like work yourself through that and come out on the other end, not exhausted and just being able to work through it is really freedom. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, woo-hoo. Tiffany, the name of this podcast, Your Leadership Legacy. So what legacy are you aspiring to leave?
Ooh. I remember when you asked me this on season 2, and I was like, wow, that is such a powerful question. And I think I'm going to answer it organic. I didn't prepare anything, but I'm going to answer it organically in the moment. And I think really the legacy that I want to leave behind is acceptance. As I start to learn and to feel and develop and check my own blind spots, my own, triggers, that what I see on the other side of it is acceptance, accepting myself, all parts of who I am, and accepting all parts of who you are and anyone else who comes my way, whether we agree, disagree, whether our values are the same or not. Just really accepting you that you're on your own journey. I'm not looking to enroll you into mine, and just acceptance.
Oh my gosh, there's like we could do like a whole nother hour and a half on that, on that last part, because it's what we're living right now. Everyone's trying to be right. Everyone's trying to be right. And I read an article on LinkedIn, a gal in the local area here with the Karen situation that happened with the 911. And, from a female perspective and just kind of looking at that, we fight so hard to use our voice, and we fought so hard over time to use our voice. And like, we get to let people use their voice and, like you said, meet them where they're at. And there's education and there's support and there's empowerment and all that stuff that goes behind it. So I'm not super crazy about the name Karen, just because like, we get to use our voice and we get to get feedback when we're not using our voice in the right way. And I think that's probably what the whole Karen thing is more about. But yeah, if you're listening to this, you get to use your voice. Probably it's more important now than ever before.
Yeah. And my takeaway from the whole Karen thing is just be understanding. The Karen thing to me is like, you're in a state of judgment and righteousness, rather than, and like taking a moment to be like, okay, what's another possibility here? Do I feel threatened, or is this my ongoing old school judgment and righteousness? Like, I don't want anybody, because the interesting part was, it was just some people were afraid, and other people were just legitimately like, they treat everyone like that. They're just like, the Scrooge of the neighborhood. Yeah. And it's like, even the Scrooge, it's like, you saw at the end, He softened up and melted and like humanized. And that's really, really what the message was from the San Francisco Karen Act, is to humanize. Like, are you seeing that this is another human being?
Yeah.
With a heart, a soul, a family? And not everyone is, so we're assuming people are criminals and have bad intentions.
Yeah. We get to find love in the world, right? We get to continue to move towards that. Tiffany, where can people find you?
So my company's website is evolveeq.com, and that's 2 E's. So EVOLVEEQ.com. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of it / Tiffany Houser. You could see my name if you can't see it spelled on the screen. Houser. Yeah. And I show up every Tuesday on Facebook. I have a live interview series, if you will. I've been doing it 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday. I'm going to be mixing that up soon because my commitment schedule has shifted. And this upcoming one is my final series on voting. So I'm excited about that.
Nice. Yeah. Catch that series. Whoever's listening, go find Tiffany and catch that series. I love your interview style. You get deep, you talk about the real stuff.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff. So I want to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you.
You have a free gift. Talk to us about your free
gift. I do. And I'm so excited because, as I said, we are in a launch, this new opportunity. I wouldn't even call it a program. It's just a new opportunity that is the future of DEI. So for anyone whose company is interested, we are offering our foundational DEI assessment, which is normally a $797 offer. And what it includes is an assessment of your entire organization. So those questions that I was talking with Tina about earlier, where we come in and we take a look at who you are. So it's that question series for your entire company, and then a basic debrief from us. So we're offering that complimentary to anyone who signs up for that this month. And again, that's we typically offer that at $797, and you can grab it now complimentary. And it's just such a great way to understand who and where your people are right now and your culture. Because I know people experience is different from culture. And if you want to talk to me about that, you know where to find me.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. You are a powerhouse beyond measure. You're up to huge, amazing, big things in life. And I just feel so grateful and am so honored to walk this journey with you. And just want to thank you for being on, and everybody go find Tiffany because she's amazing.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you for having me on today. Thank you, everyone who's watching. And just thank you for having me back, Tina. This is such a great show.
Yes. All right, everyone. That wraps up this episode of Your Leadership Legacy. Until next time, we will see you soon. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our programs and events at trueyouteams.com. And until next time, make it an amazing day.